Alrighty then. This video is going to be a demonstration of a second Git client for your desktop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download the newer version of GitHub Desktop. Now, I'm not sure if this is the only one that's out there. I've searched for it by finding the GitHub Desktop native, but you'll notice the URL up here, desktop.github.com. So I'm going to go ahead and download this, and then I'll go ahead and install it so you can actually sort of see what that process is all about. And then when you install it, it immediately asks you for your GitHub credentials, and then you can start downloading or cloning repositories, and we'll take a look at a little quick edit with Visual Studio Code, and go ahead and commit those changes and then push those changes back up to my repository on github.com. Alright, we're almost downloaded there. Let's go ahead and open that. Run. So this is running on a VM, so it may not be as zippy as you'd like it to be, but it seems like it's running fairly quickly. And there is the Welcome to GitHub window. And so it's pretty obvious here what's going on. If you don't have an account, of course, you can create a brand new one right there. But since all of us do have accounts, or at least I know I do, click on that, sign in, go ahead and put in my user ID and password, and sign in. And here it just wants, my full name and my email for, as you can see here, for the commits. So it picked that up, I'm sure, from my account, and click continue. And I, at this point, do not want to give them usage data, so I'll clear that tick box, but you can leave that if you wish. And hit finish. And we're in. So at this point, you'll notice that I've got some options here about creating a new repository and adding a local one and cloning, but I want to access the simple repository that I already have created on GitHub Online. So I'm going to go ahead and click Clone a Repository, and it immediately tells me which ones I already have out there on my GitHub account, and I'm going to click this one that we worked on the other day. And it's now asking me where to put these things, and notice it just has created a GitHub folder in my Documents folder. That's just the default. You, of course, can choose to put it anywhere you want. I'll just go ahead and let it clone it right there. And off it goes. And almost finished. And it's finished. Pretty zippy, to say the least. I think I'll just scan through these menus here real quickly so you can just see what some of those menu options are. But if I wanted to make a new local repository, I can do it there. I can add a local one if I already have it. Clone, of course, and then the options dialog. So view, obviously viewing changes in history and so on, or your list of repositories. You can push a repository, pull, remove. View on GitHub, that's something I can imagine using. You can show where something is in the Explorer window. You can make branches, so that's pretty easy. But we're not going to really mess with any of that. But I just wanted to give you a quick tour through the menus. So at this point, I have cloned a repository to my local computer. So now I have all of those files on my local computer, and now I simply want to maybe do some editing and work on my project. So I'm going to go to Visual Studio Code, and I just installed this So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go in and I think I don't have my font size set yet, so go to Preferences, Settings. It opens up your settings window, and indeed my font setting, as you can see here, is just the 14 points. I'm going to go ahead and put that over here in my personal settings window, and I think I'll save that file. And I also want to put autosave on. I love the autosave feature. And I'll close that settings file. And now I want to go to the File menu and say Open a Folder. Now on the Macintosh, it doesn't say Open Folder, it just says Open, but it gives you the option of just actually opening in a folder and it'll load the whole folder contents. Or you could, of course, open a single file if you wanted to. Choosing Open Folder, of course, allows me to grab the entire repository that it just downloaded. So there's the GitHub directory in my Documents folder. There is that repository that I just cloned, and I'm just going to stop right there and say Select Folder. And it opens up all the files that you see there. And I'm just going to make a simple change so you can see that. Again, I'm going to close this Welcome tab I have here. And I'm now going to click the index button, and it shows me my index page that I have just cloned. So at this point, like I say, I just want to do something very simple so that you can see what's going on. So I think in my title up here, I'll just change it to Peter's Example HTML Web. And I've just made the change. So now if I go over to my Git client that I just installed, it knows, you see here it says one changed file. It tells me which file has been changed. It actually shows me the changes here so I can see very clearly the changes that have been made. And now I want to commit this. So I'm going to go to my summary and I'm just going to say, changed the title. And I'm going to commit this to the master branch that's in my repository here on my computer, and it just did it. So now I've taken care of what I wanted to do here, and the only step that you might take at this point is if you were all finished for the day, you might say, well, I'd like to push all the changes I've made locally up to my repository at GitHub.com. So as you can see here in this window, it's very simple. It just says push to origin basically. And I'm going to go ahead and click that button, and it pushes it up to the origin. And at this point, my origin has indeed been changed. Let's go and see if I can find my GitHub account online and take a look at that. So I'm going to just log into GitHub.com. and sign in. And my September 28th repository, of course, is right there in the list. And you'll notice that here is my index file, and I'm just going to click on that so we can take a quick peek at it. And you'll notice that in the title, the words HTML indeed have been refreshed or updated from doing that push. This seems to me to be a very simple to use Git client, and the Git Kraken software I think is very powerful. It's got some cool features, but for what we're going to do, this product seems excellent. I would suggest that this product has all the features we'd want plus many more. You'll notice I can see the history of all the different changes I made, all the different commits. I can click on those and it shows me in this little file window here, this nice little example. It shows me the changes that were made. This is pretty sweet. So I would suggest that if Git Kraken is overwhelming you a little bit, that trying out this GitHub Desktop software is a really nice alternative, I believe. I kind of wish I'd actually started with this. Ethan shared this with me, and I'm really glad he did. So thank you for that.